He understands the fight that we're up against, and he can articulate that in a way that transcends race, that transcends demographic backgrounds. He's an amazing man. So please help me welcome to the stage Vice President J.D. Vance.
I am honored to introduce a friend of mine, somebody that I have just been so thrilled to see ascend American politics. His story is uniquely American. Growing up in poverty, difficult circumstances, serving his country honorably and heroically in the United States Marine Corps, being an America First champion in Congress, and somebody who I know will bring this vision to make America great again. Join me in welcoming J.D. Vance, everybody.
Oh, miss, I got a question. Are you ready? Wow, that was impressive. They told me that would be impressive, and they were exactly right. So let me say a few words of thank you first to my dear friend and the widow of my dear friend Charlie Kirk. Erica, you have been such an amazing inspiration to the entire country. How much do we love Erica Kirk? She's done a hell of a job. I want to thank, we have a couple of Mississippi senators here. We have both Senator Roger Wicker and Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. Thank you guys for being here. We have the governor of Mississippi with us. We got an all-star crowd here. Governor, thank you for being here. And most importantly, we have got over 10,000 students from across Mississippi. We are proud to have you, and we know that you are the future of Charlie Kirk's legacy. So thank you for being here. You know, I got this whole speech written, and I'm not going to deliver any of what I had written. I'm just going to speak from the heart, because that's what Charlie would so often do. And you know, when I think about what we lost 6 weeks ago, it feels like forever ago when I was in a meeting in the West Wing and one of my staff members came in and said that Charlie had been shot. And then I looked at my phone and I saw all the text messages and realized that my dear friend had been very seriously injured. Now, in the West Wing at that time, we actually thought that Charlie had a chance. We didn't know that he was eventually going to pass away. There were initial reports from the medical team that maybe things were going okay. And of course, eventually Charlie took his last breath and went home to be with his Lord and Savior. I remember thinking at that moment, first, of course, about Erica and the children. They've got their oldest, their daughter, is very similar in age to our youngest child. And I remember thinking, what a terrible tragedy for that family. And the second thing that I thought was, what a terrible tragedy for the United States of America. Because Charlie wasn't just a political figure. He wasn't just a guy who went around campus and said very interesting things and hosted all of these debates. He was a person who, particularly to the young people of this country, to all of you, he had the very best advice. And I think that's the most important way for me to honor Charlie, which is to repeat that advice, something I found true in my own life. Charlie wanted all of you, Whatever life path you chose, whatever career you chose, whatever you ultimately did for a living, Charlie wanted you more than anything to invest in the things that were worth having, to build a life that was worth building. And that started, the most important advice he ever gave you was fall in love, get married, and start a family. And I can't honor Charlie without repeating that most important advice. Now, most of you are probably too young to have found the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Some of you are lucky enough to have found that person already. But I will tell you, if you're as lucky and blessed as I have been, it hits you like a ton of bricks. And I found that person in my lovely wife, Usha, our second lady, who is here with us today. She's sitting in the audience somewhere. I don't know where. But I love you, honey. And have children. That's something Charlie also always told. I grew up in a generation. I'm 41 years old. I'm a millennial. And if you're being uncharitable, you would call me a geriatric millennial, which I really hate. I really hate being called a geriatric millennial. But here I am at 41 talking to all of you like I've got great wisdom. Here's the thing. The one regret, the only regret that I really have in my entire life, and I've made plenty of mistakes, but the one regret I have is that, frankly, I wish we had started having kids sooner. Because when you're a young father, you realize what an incredible blessing they are, but they're also very exhausting. And I know here at Ole Miss, we like to party a lot. And I know at Ole Miss, occasionally some of you will have a few drinks on a Friday or Saturday, or hopefully not a Tuesday night, but I'm sure that happens from time to time here in SEC country. But here's the thing. When you go out until 3 in the morning and wake up at 6 a.m. for class, the thing that I've learned in my old age is that incredible energy, God actually meant it for another purpose, and that purpose was to help take care of a family. So while you're young, have those babies if you're able to. That's something Charlie said all the time. But if you think of that advice, Charlie wanted you to get married. He wanted you to fall in love. He wanted you to build a family. He wanted you to find a vocation. That was the advice that he gave on campuses. But that's not just about you. That's also about our country and about our government. Because while you have the freedom to live life as you so choose, I have got a responsibility as your vice president to make the American dream as accessible as possible. And this is why, my friends, this is why we care about all the things that we care about. Why do I care so much about having a secure border in the United States of America? It's because I believe that when you let in a flood of illegal immigration, what it does is it drives down the wages of young people and makes housing unaffordable for the entire American population. That's why we closed down the border. The left will say our immigration policy is about hating immigration, hating immigrants. We don't hate anybody. We love our fellow citizens. And because we want them to have the American dream, we shut that border down the very first day that Donald J. Trump was the president of the United States. I care about you being able to afford a home, which is why we fought so hard to fix the broken policies of the Biden administration. I want a lot of you, I'm sure there are military veterans in this room right now. I'm sure there are a lot of people who will join the military in the future, and we're proud of you. But part of America First is ensuring that we never ask you to go and do the American people's business unless it is in the interest of the United States of America, and that's how we honor the sacrifice of our troops. And that's why, my friends, that's why we care so much about free speech, as Charlie lived and died for the basic principle that we ought to be able to talk about our differences, we ought to be able to debate them, and we ought to have faith that the best way to make sure that the best idea wins is to actually just have a discussion. And that is what this event is all about. That is what Turning Points USA is all about. And I am so proud and most of all, I'm so grateful to each and every person, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, for coming out and honoring one of the most important parts of Charlie's legacy, because we're going to have a discussion tonight, and that's what Charlie would want us to do. Now, I want to get to questions, and I want to leave plenty of time for questions, but I want to make just a couple of final points about Charlie's legacy in politics. The most important thing about Charlie is that he was a great husband and a great father. Erica told me probably 12 hours after Charlie had been pronounced dead, she was just absolutely devastated. She was unable, if you've ever known anybody who's grieving, sometimes they're unable to even hold a single thought for more than a few seconds. And what Erica told me, and I'm going to get a little emotional, is that she said that Charlie never yelled at her, he never cussed at her, and that to me is a great legacy to leave as a husband and a father, for your wife to be able to say that my husband was always good to me, and Charlie was a good man. But he also had the legacy of believing in political debate, and he was the most effective person in politics that I have ever seen. And by the way, that's not because Charlie always agreed with me and the president's policies. I remember one time in particular where Charlie Kirk called me, and guys, he was mad. It was one, I wouldn't say the last conversation that I had with him, but it was in the last few months of his life. And he called me and he said, JD, I'm really worried that what's going on in the Middle East right now is going to lead the United States into a protracted military conflict. I've never told anybody that Charlie was really worried about that in the final months of his life. Now, here's the thing. Charlie was so effective, and he was so trusted by both me and the President of the United States that when Charlie made that phone call, I didn't say, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. I listened to him. And I really believe that one of the reasons why the President of the United States knocked out the Iranian nuclear facilities, but never got the United States into a protracted military conflict and never lost a single American in a Middle Eastern conflict is because we had the wisdom and the good sense to recognize that the American people are done with American troops dying in unnecessary foreign conflicts. But Charlie Kirk reminded me of that. Charlie Kirk. So that was a great moment for our country. It was a great moment for my friendship with Charlie Kirk, because friendship is not just about telling everybody what they want to hear. It's not just about agreeing with everybody all the time. It's about having the trust in another human being that you can tell them they're wrong and actually encourage them to change their mind. Or in that case, not necessarily even tell us that we were wrong, but make sure that we were thinking about all the options. And of course, under the president's leadership, we were doing exactly that. But Charlie was so good at that. And I think that's one of the ways in which I want all of you to honor your legacy. Obviously, you care about our great nation or you wouldn't be here. A lot of you will go on to become future leaders in business or in politics. A lot of you will run campaigns. A lot of you will work on campaigns. A lot of you will be future leaders. There might even be a lowly future vice president of the United States in this very room. But here's the thing that I want all of you to remember. Charlie wasn't effective just because he had opinions. A lot of people have opinions. Charlie was effective because he was courageous, because he worked very hard, and because he made his vision a reality. And so if you care about this country, as I know all of you do, don't just complain about social media. Get up and get involved in a campaign. If you want a better policy outcome, even from an administration that you voted for, then get out and get involved and making your voice heard. If you care about this country, love it enough to get involved in the process and how we govern it. That is the only way we are going to save the United States of America, and that is perhaps the greatest contribution that you can make to Charlie Kirk's legacy is getting involved in saving this country. I'm in the fight, and I know every single one of you are with me. God bless you, and thank you for having me. Thank you.